All right, welcome to our segment on percents. So while we looked at converting all the percents in the last segment, now we're really going to look at these. I mean, you could call them word problems because they have words in them, but that would really be deceiving since it really is just straight out asking you with no extraneous information what something is. In the next segment, we'll look at the more wordy word problems, if you will. So we're going to round to the nearest tenth if necessary. However, there's a big caveat they won't tell you usually. When you're dealing with straight percentage, when you're finding the percent, you want to round to the nearest percent. Unless noted otherwise, but I'm telling you for all my stuff, that's how it's going to be. I will go over like the review for the final if that comes up, but usually round to the nearest percent. So no decimals on our percentages. So in order to make this happen, we need a couple keywords. What is a keyword? Is a keyword. Of is a keyword. And then we have to do something with our percent. So what is going to mean X? Is going to mean equals. Of is going to be multiplication, which I will represent as a dot. And when you have a percent, you need to move to the left because you need it to be a decimal. All right, so we want to get an equation for each of these. We use our keywords for that to happen, and then we follow that solving equations like we did in the proportion section. So if you look, what number is the same variation of what? So what number, that means X, is equals 54%, which means I'm going 1, 2, and it's going to be 0.54. Of means multiply. 38 is just 38. So if we have a number, we're going to leave the number alone. Now we throw a line down our equal sign because that's going to separate our left side from our right. And then we say to ourselves, is something attached to the X? If something is attached to the X, then we need to get rid of it by undoing it, meaning doing the opposite. So if it's multiplication, we're going to divide both sides, just like we did with our proportions. However, this one, the X is all alone. So we leave the X all alone, and then this is what we put into our calculator, 0.54 times 38, and we get 20.52. We're rounding to the nearest tenth, so we are going to look at the second decimal, the hundredths place, and we are going to round to the tenths, our first decimal place, and we are going to get X equals 20.5. So 20.5 is 50%, or 54% of 38. Now again, think if this makes sense. If we're finding about 50% of 38, 50% of 38 is 19. So if we're finding a little bit more than that, it makes sense that it's 20.5. All right, so I put the types of wording. I gave you 2 of each, and I kept them right next to each other because I'm not trying to trick you. So you will notice that number 2 is the same wording. What number means X, is means equals. 72% is going to be 0.72. Of means multiply. 200 stays 200. We have the X all alone. We're going to multiply 0.72 times 200, and we are going to get 144, no rounding necessary. All right, let's look at number 3. It says, what percent? Now that changes things simply because at the end, remember, we're like all in decimal land while we're in it. but at the end we're going to have to change back to a percentage. So I can put star, and I have to remember to move 2 to the right to get a decimal. All right, so what percent x of means multiply, 20 is 20, is means equals 4. So this equation looks like this: x times 20 equals 4. We throw a line down our equal sign, and we're dividing both sides by what's attached to the x, because I want x alone. I want this alone. So if it's x times 20 on both sides, then I need to divide by 20, just like I did with the proportions. I cancel out the 20s and I get x equals, and then I put that into my calculator. 4 divided by 20 is 0.2, but I need to remember to move it 2 to the right because that is a decimal, that's not a percent. So you see what I mean? In these types of problems, you are going to get a decimal because we work with decimals while we're in the problem, but then at the end we need to move it 2 to the right. So our answer is x equals 20%. All right, looking at number 4, same wording. So what percent? Because it's what percent, we're going to have to move 2 to the right at the end. Of 36 is 9. So what percent x of times 36 is equals 9. Throw your line. Decide what you're dividing by. To get x alone, we need to get rid of that 36. We do it with division since x times 36 is what we have in our equation. Do that on both sides. Cancel out the 36's. X equals 9 divided by 36 is going to give you 0.25. But now I need to move the decimal 2 to the right. So I get that x is equal to 25%. All right, new wording that you can see. 11 is 25% of what number? So we're going to start with an 11. Is means equals. 25% is 0.25. Of means multiply, and what number means x. So really I have 11 equals 0.25 times x. I'm going to throw my line down my equal sign. I'm still dividing both sides by something because I have these two connected and I need to get x alone. I get that alone. So in order to get x alone, I need to divide both sides by what's attached to it, which means I'm dividing by 0.25. The 0.25s cancel out. I have an x on the right, and 11 divided by 0.25 is 44. So 11 is 25% of 44. Same wording on number 6. We start off with 37 is means equals. Now, be careful here, 4%. To turn that into a decimal, I need to move my decimal 2 to the left. When I move it 2 to the left, 4% does not become 0.4. That would be 40%. 4% becomes 0.04. Of means multiply. What number means x. Throw my line down my equal sign. Divide both sides by 0.04. And I get 925 equals x. Try some of those, let me know how it goes, and I will take any questions you have.